So hello everyone, my name is Becky, I'm with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today we are going to be talking about our opportunities and sales pipeline. So we're going to be doing our opportunities overview today. Um, we're going to kind of just do an overview going through how to create an opportunity and the sales pipeline entirely. I'll explain that in a minute as well. If you do have questions as we go through, please feel free to drop those in the chat. I'm more than happy to get those answered. I will try to get them answered in real time. However, I may have to save them for the end for the sake of timing. But I will make sure I save some time at the end to get to those questions for you. So feel free to drop them as you have them in the chat, and I will get to them whenever I can for the sake of time. So if you have those questions, if you're watching this back on replay, please feel free to email us with any questions. That email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. And today's class will be available on our YouTube channel within 24 hours. So we do try to get those done end of the day. But I did just drop both our email and our YouTube channel link in the chat if anyone wants to check those out. This recording will be available. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our YouTube channel. So when you are on our YouTube channel, today's class is going to appear right here under the videos tab. It'll be that first video that shows up. If you are looking for other trainings and things, our YouTube channel is a great place to start. We have a bunch of training on pretty much everything in Command, and we have a ton of tip videos that, walk you through short little things you can change in Command, different things you would update or things like that. So our YouTube channel is a great place to start. We do recommend, if you are looking for videos, that you check out our videos tab, because that is going to have our most recent videos up at the top, and then you can find it from there. If you are searching, for example, if we search for this, just make sure you're paying attention to those dates. Things are always changing, both in Command and with the services that we offer here at Scott Leroy Marketing. So we do always recommend looking for those most recent videos if you are searching. So if you scroll down a little, you'll probably find the one from 2 weeks ago. It probably won't be at the top. For some reason, the search doesn't pull that up in order. So just make sure you're paying attention to those dates or checking out our videos tab, because that does have that in reverse chronological order. So feel free to take a look at that. So let's go ahead and jump in. Opportunities and sales pipeline. What exactly is that? So opportunities are going to be your transactions in Command. So this would start at the time you meet your new lead all the way to the time you get to the closing table. So opportunities are a way for you to track the transaction all the way through. I'll be walking you through the basics for the first half of class, so exploring opportunities tab in Command, showing you how to create one, how to manage them, edit them, move them along through the actual sales pipeline, and then we'll spend the last roughly half of the class going through the actual sales pipeline, meaning from the time you start the relationship to having an appointment, to getting documents signed, having those things documents turned into your market center for compliance, and then just getting all the way through offers and commissions, and then getting to closing. So kind of just going to walk you through basically the lifetime of an opportunity, so you get a better idea of what would happen in each stage and phase of the pipeline. So again, this is an overview. It's just going to be an overview of the sales pipeline. Definitely here to help answer any questions that you may have throughout the process, though. So feel free, again, to drop those in the chat. Happy to answer those questions when I have a second to grab them. So we're going to start in Command. Before we go over to our Opportunities tab, I do want to show you one of the settings that you will want to check on before you start creating opportunities in your Command. And that is to make sure you have your DocuSign or .loop linked. So first, we're going to go to our name in the top right corner, and then we're going to go down and we're going to click Settings. Give it a second to load. There we go. And then it's going to show us our connected applications through here. So we do have our DocuSign already connected. DocuSign and .loop are signature platforms that are used to edit forms, send them out to your clients for signatures, and receive them back. So DocuSign will apply to the majority of you. Some offices do use .loop. We find that most of the offices have transitioned over to using DocuSign. maybe probably about 90% of the offices that we work with do use DocuSign. And then some use Dotloop. And then I know some of our other agent friends in Canada or some in California, I believe, um, don't use DocuSign or Dotloop, and they use a different app for their forms. But that's great. Just use whatever your market center says for you to use. For the sake of today's class, I am going to focus on DocuSign. But we want to make sure our DocuSign is going to be connected through here. So it should look like this. It should say connected as your current status. It'll tell you what email address it's linked to right here. So if you need to disconnect and connect to a different account, you can do that here. You can send your invite. So when you do have a DocuSign account, it does have to be KW specific. So it has to be created through command. Basically, that makes sure you have free number of rooms. You're not limited on how much you can create. That can cause an error for you. And it will make sure that it actually connects with command properly. So you want to make sure you have a KW compatible account, and you can connect that through here. If you have questions or need help connecting your DocuSign, please feel free to email us, support@scottleroymarketing.com. We are always more than happy to jump in, help connect that for you, check if your account's compatible, things like that. So we are more than happy to help out with that. Just feel free to shoot us an email and we can help take care of that for you. But now that we've checked on our DocuSign, we're going to go back over to our command home. And now we are going to go to the opportunities applet. So the opportunity, your applets are going to be on the left-hand side. It's going to be a list of icons. The opportunities applet is going to be the one that looks like hands shaking. If you are not sure, you can hover over it. Or if you click this red square in the top right corner, top left, sorry about that. You click that square in the top left corner, it will expand that whole menu for you and give you the full name for it for each of them. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our opportunities applet. I'm going to close that menu. So the first thing we're going to see when we are here is going to, I'm going to kind of just give you an overview of what we're looking at. If you are on a team, you will see an individual tab for that team up here. So you'll see your team, your personal, and then your all opportunities tab. The personal and team could be, switched order, but you'll see all three of them up at the top. If you're a solo agent, you will see your name right here. But this is just going to show you your dashboard for your personal opportunities. This all opportunities tab, I will show you in just a second, is just going to show all of your opportunities. But this one right here, the one that'll have your name at the top, this is going to be more of a visual pipeline, visual representation of what you have in opportunities right now. So you'll see your sales pipeline images, things like that, and we're going to take a deeper look into that in a second. But if you do need to ever find an opportunity quickly, you'll just switch to the all opportunities tab. Under this tab, you will be able to find all of your closed opportunities. You will be able to, if you change your filter settings, you can find your archived opportunities or lost opportunities through here as well. So you would just click that and it would turn it on and you'd be able to find those. So you can filter your opportunities. You can rearrange these columns if you'd like. We can drag and drop them by the 6 dots. If it has these arrows, then you'll be able to sort either in, let's see here, alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order, depending on what you decide you'd like in there. You can also do that with the type and the phase listing price. So there's a couple different options through there. We can customize some columns, so you can choose this icon right here, and it's going to show us the different columns we can toggle on or toggle off. Sorry, I have to let a couple people in real quick. But it's going to show you the different columns you can toggle on or off if you would like. And then we can, again, drag and drop those around. And then we can also set a smart view. So it's kind of like what we have in our contacts tab, where we can set a default view using filters, rearranging the columns, things like that. Basically, you're going to be able to, when you move it out of what's going to be your default, then you'll be able to, let me see here, if I move, see if that does it. Yeah. So you'll see create smart view right here. And then you can name it whatever you'd like. You can set it as your default smart view, which is just going to be that whenever you open your all opportunities tab, that's what you'll automatically see. So that's how you would create a smart view if you would like. But yeah, so we're going to go back over to our pipelines over here. Give it a second. There we go. We have three different pipelines. So we have listings, buyers, leases. So we're going to just start at the top and work our way down. But for listing and buyer opportunities, we have 5 different phases. So we have cultivate. So cultivate is going to be where you are starting to form that relationship with the person. Maybe you are collecting personal information, getting more information on what they're looking for, having that first real estate conversation with them, trying to get to the point where maybe they're starting to talk about setting an appointment with you, things like that. That's going to be our cultivate phase. Then you have your appointment phase, which is going to be when they have set an appointment with you. That's fairly straightforward. And then active, that's going to be you have ink on paper, you have signed documents, and you are now either their listing agent or their buyer's agent. They are an active buyer or seller. Next one is going to be under contract. That again is fairly self-explanatory, as is the closed. Under contract is going to be you have the written contracts for either the sale or buy of a property. So you'll be able to be under contract, upload those documents through there. And then closed is going to be you have fully closed it. So as the thing, sorry about that, as the opportunity, let's be a little more specific there. So you have all of these phases for all of your sales pipelines. As your opportunity moves through the pipeline, you'll see it appear down here in this color dot with the number in it. That's going to be how many opportunities you have in each phase. So we have different pipelines for listings, buyers, and leases. The one difference with the leases pipeline is instead of a pending phase, you're going to have, or instead of an under contract phase, you'll have a pending phase. So it's going to be the same thing basically, but they just changed the name on it. So all of these different icons are going to be hyperlinks that you can click to go see that specific phase. We will dive into these when we go over the actual pipelines themselves and the lifetime of the opportunity. So we'll kind of jump into those a little more deeply a little later on towards the end of our class. But next we have volume. So the volume is going to be how much you have in each phase. That's going to be basically how much you should make through that phase, what you have in volume. And then we have the average time. So that's going to be the average time that an opportunity spends in each phase. This is a demo account, so you can kind of ignore our numbers. Hopefully yours look a lot better than these. Some of these are a little skewed if you couldn't tell. But yeah, so hopefully yours will look a little better than this, but you'll be able to see the arrow just showing you, as you move through each phase, the order goes in. Next, we have the GCI. We have potential income versus probable income. So this is an important difference to notice. So the potential income is going to be the total commission you would earn from all of the opportunities in this pipeline if they all made it all the way through and closed. So it includes the opportunities in the cultivate phase as well as the under contract phase and close. So that would be how much you would make potentially. Probable income is going to adjust the commission you have here. This number is going to change based on each stage's probability to close. So I'm not sure of the exact numbers off the top of my head, but basically, as the opportunity moves through the pipeline, it's going to be more likely to close. And as it is more likely to close, your probable income will go up. So this number will change depending on where the opportunity is in the pipeline. This number won't really change as long as you have the income things on the opportunity itself. So you have the cost or the house listing price and things like that through there. So that one shouldn't change. The probable income will change. So just something to keep in mind there. So it's going to look the same for all of these phases. But if we go all the way down, we're going to see a ratio graph. This is going to show us basically how many of each opportunities we have. So we can see right now The colors are going to be the same colors as each of these these pipelines here. So green is going to be listings, orange is going to be buyers, and purple is going to be leases. So you can see that we have 67% of our opportunities are currently listings, 11% are buyers, and 22% are leases. You'll also see those numbers broken down a little more down below with your probable and potential income for both of those broken down by category here. We also have an activity chart. So this is going to show the peaks and lows in your business. So it's really over a year. So you'll be able to see maybe when your business peaks. So you can see ours peaked in July right here. We had 9 opportunities. Started building up in February. So March, we jumped to 2, and then we'll be able to just see that. Just give us a better idea of maybe when our business is doing its best and things like that. Under the all opportunities button right here, you can also filter by listing, buyer, landlord, or tenant for those opportunities. So you have a better idea for each type of opportunity. And then if you go down below, you'll see any closings you have this month. You'll see those right here. So anytime you have a closing that's scheduled to close this month, it's going to just populate right here for you. I do want to note that this does reset every month, as do the closed phases on the pipeline. So you'll see that all of these have 0 right here. If you closed one last month, it depends on when your market center does their month-end close or transmittal. So it's generally within the first couple days of the month. But this number will reset once they process that, so that this is going to be by the month. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of an overview of our dashboard right here. So I'm going to walk you through now how to create an opportunity. So there's a couple different ways we can create an opportunity. We can create it right here with this button that says create opportunity. We can also go find the contact that we want to create the opportunity for, and we can actually create it in the contact profile. So I'm going to switch over to my contacts applet. It's going to be the square with the person in it. And then I'm going to choose the contact I'd want to do that for. And then in there, if you switch to the opportunities tab, you will see the option to create an opportunity. So it's going to be the same way of creating an opportunity. I'll walk you through this. I actually just want to go back over to the opportunities applet just to kind of be where we are in a familiar place there. So we're going to go ahead and go through creating an opportunity. So once we click create opportunity, anything with a red asterisk is going to be a required field. If you are in multiple market centers, you will want to make sure you have the correct market center selected. So keep an eye on this. If you are in 2 market centers, or maybe even you are currently transferring between market centers, you may see both market centers for a short amount of time as your market center staff works to transfer you over. So just keep an eye on this. Make sure you are entering that opportunity under the correct market center. Once the opportunity is created, the market center cannot be changed. So you would have to archive the opportunity and create a new one under the correct market center. So we just recommend you keep a close eye on that. Next, we have the team option. So if you are solo, it's going to be grayed out like it is on mine. If you are on a team, you'll just want to make that decision if it is a team opportunity or a solo opportunity. If you choose team, then the owner of the opportunity is going to show us the rainmaker almost every single time. So just keep that in mind. Opportunity type, listing, buyer, landlord, or tenant. I'm going to go with the listing for the sake of this class, just because there are 2 different things. I think it's two different places that have a little different than a buyer opportunity, and I just want to show you those. So we'll go with the listing, and then next we'll go with client. So if you click on it, it's going to say no options. Just start typing. So once you start typing, then those contacts are going to populate right here, and you can choose which one you want, or you can create a new contact right through here, whichever you would like. I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. If you have a co-seller, you can put that in here. If you have another contact, so it would be the same. Click on it, it's going to say no options, but once you start typing, it'll give you the option for someone else to be the co-seller or co-buyer, either way. Opportunity name is going to be automatically populated. We can change that. For example, we can change that to the address if we would like to. I'm just going to leave it right here. It'll say, contact's name and then listing or buyer, whichever it is. Custom tags. So if you are looking to organize your opportunities, it's going to be different from your contact tags. These are going to be opportunity tabs where you can kind of see the percentage of your business done with that tag. So for example, if you specialize in military or reloads or something like that, you can enter those tags here. So you just say military. And then at the end, we'd be able to see, a breakdown of how many were military or things like that. So I'm actually going to clear that right there. And then estimated close date, time frame, estimated listing price. If you don't have these aren't currently required fields. You can go in and edit those later on. So if you don't know them, it's not required. Commission rate is required. We'll say our commission rate. Opportunity phase. So we can select if it's a cultivate, if it's already in the appointment, or if it's active. And then our opportunity stage. So that's going to be the stage within each phase. So we'll cover that a little more at the end of our class when we go through those pipelines. So you can choose however you'd like, and then you can move it later on. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. So this is what an opportunity is going to look like once it is created. So we're going to kind of do another quick overview of what we're seeing here. So the first thing we are seeing right here is going to be, it'll say sales pipeline / listing cultivate. This is kind of like a back button for us. So it's going to be a hyperlink back to our sales pipeline. So if we click this one, it'll take us all the way back. If we click the listing cultivate, it's going to take us to the phase and stage. So we'll be able to go look at those pipelines closer if we'd like. We'll have the name of our opportunity. Right here, we'll have a hyperlink to a contact. So this is going to be the contact that is linked to the opportunity. If we click on that, it'll give us the option to change that. So we can go to contacts and see that contact there. If we click edit down here, we'd be able to change that. Select from listings. So this is going to be one of those things that you won't see on a buyer or lease opportunity. You can pull the listing directly from the MLS right through here. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how to do this process. So first you'll click select from listings. This can kind of confuse some people because once you do that and it pulls this up, a lot of people tend to think, oh no, it's broken. It's not broken if it looks like this. Generally, this is what you will see if your MLS is not currently synced with command, which having your MLS synced with command is convenient, but it is not required to sync your listings. So it's not required to make sure it's all synced up before you do this. It's helpful. It'll automatically populate that information, but again, not necessary. I'm going to walk you through how to do it if you don't have that connected or you're not seeing your listing in here. So first thing we want to do is generally we want to search by the MLS number. It's generally going to be more accurate. Let me grab the MLS number real quick. There we go. So we'll enter our MLS number, and then we're going to change this so it doesn't just show only my listings. So you can change it to show your market center listings or all listings. I recommend all listings just because it will pull any in from the MLS that maybe aren't showing with the MLS ID not being in there. So, and then you would just say search KWLS, and then you are going to search through there. Sometimes there's going to be more than one property. But you'll just find. I apologize for that, everyone. My computer just froze and it just pulled back up. Give me just a second. Let me get this back up for you. Alrighty. Can y'all hear me again? Sorry, I cut out. Make sure someone can hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that confirmation. And Daniela. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's jump back in. But yeah, so you'll search by your MLS number. I did grab one that is not actually associated with this market center, which I should have grabbed one of those. But let me see if I can find one real quick that's actually with this market center. Give it a second. Find a listing. Just wants to be slow. All right. Grab one real quick. All right, grab this one real quick. And grab this MLS ID real quick. We'll go back over here. Let's try. Remove this one first, and then we'll try again. Again, MLS number, enter in our MLS ID, and we're going to switch to show all listings. Let's try taking out some of this. There it is. There we go. So we'll scroll down, find that, and then we'll say select. And there we go. Now it'll add it to our listing. And then we're not getting an error about it not being affiliated with our market center. So we'll go ahead and do that. So it goes ahead and it fills in some of that property information for us. So we don't have to manually go enter in the address line, as well as the price and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and look at all of these. So information about your opportunity through here. So key information, this is where you can edit that opportunity name, as well as you'll see your opportunity ID. You'll see the contact name, co-seller. You'll also see the phase and stage through here. You'll see property information, and then we have key dates. So as your key dates become available, as you know what each of them are, you can go through and you can click the pencil and begin adding in those dates. This is going to be important if we want to have tasks associated with our opportunity that use key dates. So we want to make sure we enter in those dates if we have them. This will help you schedule any tasks and things like that. We'll get into those tasks again with the sales pipeline and part at the end. But we'll say, our appointment scheduled for, we'll say our appointment scheduled for Monday, and then we'll just save that so we have one we can look at later. So now as we go through, we'll see all of our information in here. So your seller worksheet, which has kind of just the breakdown and then some of that financial information. And then you'll also see your ownership here. So this is not going to be editable through here, but you'll be able to see which market center it's under, the team it's under, and then the owner of the opportunity. So you'll get that information through there. Next, we have our marketing tab. So this is going to be the second thing that you'll see in a listing opportunity that you won't see in another type of opportunity. And so you'll see through here, it has recommended designs for you. So it changes per phase. So currently you'll see that it's in the cultivate phase. So you'll see designs for that phase, but as you move on, you'll see more designs that you can edit throughout the transaction. So things like that, you'll see that update. We do have a class for that. It kind of goes through some of these in more detail. It's like a part 2. It's our opportunities, marketing, and checklists class. So feel free to check that out on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to find it there pretty easily. Next, we're going to see our documents tab. You are going to be here a good bit. This is where you'll come in and see a list of all the documents that your market center needs. So each market center has their own compliance checklist. Each may look a little bit different, but through here, you'll want to select the correct checklist. So some market centers don't have multiple options for checklists. But if yours does, you'll see a note here that says, please select the checklist type before uploading any documents. You would just click where mine says residential. You'll click that and you'll choose from the options what type it is. So each market center is a little different with that. They all have their own compliance checklists, so it can look a little different. But once you have the proper checklist, you'll see the documents populate. You'll see the document name for each of those of what it will be like. And then you'll see the requirements. So if it's a required document, if it's optional, I believe there's also one for conditional that's going to be a different color. So feel free to check those out. It kind of depends on each of your opportunities in your market center. We're going to circle back a little more to the documents when we walk through the life of the pipeline. Next, we have offers and commissions. It's also pretty self-explanatory. I'll show you how to add an offer again once we get to that part. And then we have notes. So if you have any notes you want to add throughout the opportunity, you can add them in here. And then your timeline is going to show you the history of the opportunity. So we can see any changes we've made in the last 30 days. We can change that date range to be the last 7 days or for all time. So we can get a clear idea of what happened in that opportunity. Maybe if we're looking for something specific, we'll be able to find that here. We're also going to see up here this part that says client updates. So you'll see that they are turned off on mine. They are automatically going to be turned off, but you can turn them on for each individual opportunity. So a client update is an automated email that can be sent to your client. It can be sent once a day automatically. It'll be automatically composed for you. It'll have your branding at the top and bottom, but then it'll have a little blurb to your client saying, basically, we're working on your transaction. This is what we've gotten done today. If you have any tasks on your opportunity that you've gotten done, you can control which tasks they get to see if they are completed. So you can change, maybe you don't want them to see when a certain task is completed, but you do want certain ones to show up. Then you'll be able to change those. If nothing was completed that day, it's not going to email them at all. So you have control of what they see, who sees it. And we do have a tip video as well that shows you how to set it up. We can choose to turn it on by clicking right here that says client updates. Maybe, for example, a client wants a lot of handholding. Maybe they're a new buyer, first-time buyer, or their personality, they like a lot of information. You can turn those on. Or, maybe you don't want to turn it on if it's like an investor and that's, what they do all day, every day. And they don't necessarily need a notice for everything that you complete. So you can make that choice depending on your clients. That's where it comes in handy to know your clients. But you can go ahead and change that, turn those on. Tasks, you will see, you do have a tasks tab within Command already. It's going to be the same checklist icon over here on the left-hand side. And that's where you can go to see all of your tasks. But you can see all of the tasks for the individual opportunities through here. So you'll have access to them. We can add due dates to them. So we can say, right here, add a due date to it, extend it or something like that. You can also reschedule some by clicking the three dots right here. Oh, that's not the right one. We'll go here. There we go. We'll click on that one, and it'll say reschedule. We can also create new tasks. So if we create a new task, it's only going to be created for this opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sample one right here. Then we're going to say it's linked to this opportunity, opportunity phase and stage. We're going to say maybe we want a task for when it's closed, and we want to call them. And so this is where those smart due dates come in handy. So we mentioned those key dates earlier. So when we go down, we'd enter our description, hyperlink, priority level, and then the due date type. So we can set it as a specific calendar date for those clients. So we can click there. But we can also say on a smart due date, before or after a smart due date, or no due date at all. So if we said on the smart due date, it's going to give us this task to call our client on the date that we have set. So for example, we say on the smart due date, and it's going to be on our close date. But we can also say after. So maybe we call our clients a week after closing, to make sure that everything's going smoothly for them and things like that, just to check up on them. So you can set that, and it'll give you that task at that time after the close date. So you can go through and do those. And then we would click create. Keep in mind that when you create a task in here, it is going to only show that task on this opportunity. There is a way to create tasks for all opportunities, and that's going to be with our checklists. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. But you can see the different tasks for each phase that you have. Then we'll just click done. And that is going to be our overview for the opportunity itself. And now we're going to get into the sales pipeline. So the sales pipeline over here, I'm going to go back to here. So again, this is going to be how you can find your opportunities. So we can quick click the link for each phase in our checklists. I'm going to go to our listings, cultivate phase right here. So we'll see all of the different ones. So we have watch. You'll also see the percentage. This is going to be the likelihood of that opportunity closing. So you'll remember earlier we were talking about our potential income versus our probable income. So this is going to be basically what changes the probability of that income. So the further it moves through, it goes from 5% to 7% to 10%, and it just moves, the number goes up the further through it goes. So we can drag and drop these through the opportunity if we'd like. We can click the name right here. It's going to open that opportunity. The three dots, you can view the details or archive the opportunity from right here. We can see if our client updates are turned on or off, and then we'll also be able to see the tasks that we have for that opportunity right there. If we go right here to stages and checklists, these are going to change by the stage we're in, but I'll do that one. We're currently in cultivate, and we can see our stages through here. So if we go down and drag these around, we can change the order of our stages. We can add a stage if we'd like, and then we can edit the checklist for each opportunity. So if we go in there to watch, then we're going to see all of the different tasks that will automatically be assigned to an opportunity when it is in this phase. So we can add a task that is going to be, again, when you do this way, it's going to create it for all opportunities when they are created. So there's that. KW does have a sample checklist. I'm going to kind of show you this real quick. Let me open it up in a new tab over here. That didn't work for me. All right, hold on one second. Forgot I'm not logged into Gmail on this one. There we go. Let me drag that over there so you can see it. Should we see that? All So when you do that, you'll be able to, there's a link, I'll drop the link in the chat as well. There we go. So that's just from KWRI. When you do that, it's going to ask if you want to copy the document. So I'm going to say make a copy. It's going to open it up in Google Sheets for us. And then it has options, samples, checklists for us. So different things that we can go in and we can add to each. Might have cut out for a second there. Sorry, y'all. That we can add for each opportunity or each phase of our pipeline. So we can go through and we can copy and paste one of these if we want. I'm going to grab, we'll go from nurture and we'll grab that one right there. So that's going to be our cultivate and nurture phase. I'm going to go ahead and close this out real quick. Basically, we would just copy and paste that. I'm going to leave. I need to go back to nurture. There we go. Add a task, enter that task name in there, and then you can go and just create those tasks based off of that template. Again, I dropped that link in the chat, so you can go ahead and copy and paste those if you'd like. So once those are saved, it's going to apply to all opportunities. Again, our opportunities marketing and checklist class is going to give you a deeper dive into each of these pipelines or each of the marketing and checklist things. So feel free to check out that class. It's kind of like a part 2 to this. So we're going to go back and we're going to kind of walk through the lifetime of an opportunity real quick. So the first thing we have is when you have met that client, that's when you're going to be in that watch phase. We'll create the opportunity. And as we go through, maybe we start cultivating that relationship. We can drag and drop this to maybe they're a nurturer now. So we've already talked to them. They're showing interest. We're still trying to, talk to them, get them more, they're saying they're about ready. But when they're ready, we can drop them in hot, and that's going to mean they are ready to go. Next, we can drag them to the appointment phase. Appointment phase is going to be they've scheduled an appointment with us again, and then we go to our appointment phase. We'll see it right here, scheduling, scheduled, kept, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my opportunity so we can look at it from inside. We are again going to go to the documents tab. So there we go. So we'll see right here, we'll see all the documents we need. What we want to do is we want to click start a transaction. So this is going to create a DocuSign room, which is how you will manage your documents. We do have a class specifically for DocuSign. It's going to be our DocuSign 101. And it walks you through when you're actually inside DocuSign, how you're going to get those documents out for signatures, things like that, how you add them back to your opportunity. So once you create that room, you do have to create the room through the opportunity in order for it to sync properly with command. So just keep that in mind. But once we have that in here, we'll be able to attach files from DocuSign. We can also switch this if we need to upload some documents manually. It's important to know that if you have, both DocuSign and Dotloop, whichever of those two signature platforms you choose for creating the opportunity, you're going to have to use for the rest of that specific opportunity. You can create a new opportunity if you, selected Dotloop and you really needed DocuSign or vice versa. Or you can download those documents and upload them manually if you need. But once we selected our signature platform, we can only use that signature platform or upload the documents manually. So this is why you wanted to make sure we had our DocuSign linked in there. So once we have all the documents in there and we need it submitted to our Market Center, we would just click the Submit to Market Center, and that'll send it over to our staff at our Market Center for compliance. So you'll click here. They'll let you know if it's been approved, if it needs anything else, maybe a document is missing or something like that. They will let you know that. So next we have how to create an offer. So we're going to switch over to our offers and commissions tab. So once you've gone from listed and you're now you're going to the under contract phase, this is where you want to create those offers. So you can add multiple offers in here if you need. I'm going to go ahead and say add new offer. So we'll look at that. We can change the name on that, and then we'll have our property address right here. Again, if it's a buyer opportunity, or it is, you haven't linked it here, you may have to select it from the KWLS, do the whole MLS number, enter it in, and show all listings. So keep that in mind. You may need to do that, especially if it's buyer opportunity, because sometimes it will say, this listing isn't in the KWLS. Please select one, something like that. So if you do see that, you'll just be able to go in, select it. Again, we recommend MLS number and then change it to show all listings, and you should be able to find it. Then we'll select our property type, the classification of that property type. Total units, seller information is going to be right here. Seller agent representation, we'll say the buyer name. You can add the buyer's agent if you need to or would like to. You can say if they're pre-approved, pre-qualified, fill that out however you would like or however you need to. We'll put that sales price in there. I think I already have one right here. There we go. And then how much of it is cash. So we'll say it's 1 cent, just to have a number in there. We can enter in earnest percentage, earnest amount if we need to. Change those. Contract date, we would want to enter that in. And then the close date, we would want to put that in there as well. So if we are creating this opportunity or we're creating this offer to have a side-by-side comparison for our clients, we can just enter when that close date would be. Enter that date in there. Any contingencies, any comments you want to leave for your client. And then we can say create offer. So once we have multiple offers created in here, we'll be able to do a side-by-side comparison for our clients so they can see what each looks like, maybe figure out what the best offer is for them. Once we have that done, we can click accept, reject, or we can click the 3 dots, edit or remove the offer. If we click accept, it's going to have us go in and put that contract date in there. That's today. And then we can just click save and accept offer. And it will update it for us. And there we go. So this is how you would create a transaction for, commissions requests, things like that for your market center. So once you have that, if they do decide that, that you need to edit the offer, or if there's, a different offer that they wanted to do instead, as long as you haven't submitted it to the market center, you can still go edit that. We just click offers and commissions. And it's going to bring us to our offer. We can change our response on that. And that's going to say, this is going to clear out those dates. So we'll say yes. And then we would just go through and accept that offer once again. And then we'll go manage commission, and it brings us back to this page. So you can also go in and edit all of these different things in here. You can add contingencies or things like that if some things change. And then once you have all of this information correct, you can add an agent payment in here or whatever you need in there. But once you have all of that, you'll see your breakdown right here, and you'd want to click submit. That's going to send it over to your market center so that they can pay you. So you'll come submit that offer that produces a transaction request or a commission request that then your market center can pay you out through. But you will want to do that. Once that's done, just make sure you come back to the documents tab and upload any documents that you need. And for each pipeline, each phase, you do need to go and submit to the market center for each one. So under listed, once you have those documents in, you'll want to say submit to market center. Same with under contract and same with closed, each individually. So that's really all I've got for that today. I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're not sticking around for questions, thanks for joining me. I hope it was helpful. Again, sorry for cutting out earlier. And I hope you have a fantastic, so